Cases filed against journalists for questioning CPM leaders. Senior journalists facing cases for stuff like questioning trade union strikes. Cases against reporters for reporting exam malpractices. Police raids that were conducted against an online portal. And a POXO case that is also in this particular mix. Let's not forget an SCST, Prevention of Atrocities Act. That particular case has also been leveled against an editor of one of these media firms. Now, today, the essential idea is that we're going to try and bring you a deep dive into the alarming series of actions that have been taken by the Kerala police against journalists, raising serious questions about the state of press freedom in the region. And as we speculate all of this, we're going to talk about the fresh conspiracy case against a woman journalist, two accusations of the ruling left towing the line of the BJP in muzzling the media. Let's not forget, it's a hypocritical sort of a stance because the left government in the state of Kerala has time and again come out and accused the BJP government of trying to muzzle the media as well. We're going to uncover the political dynamics at play. Join us in the comment sections below as well, people who are especially joining us from Kerala. Let us know what you're feeling, what are the ground sentiments like. We're going to try and unravel the truth, at least talk about what's behind these incidents, try and shed light on CPM's own accusations against the BJP and explore the impact on the media landscape. Get ready for this conversation. Let's dive right into this. Varghese, first and foremost, for the benefit of all the viewers, let's lay all the cases in front of them, right? There are cases against, Maranathan Malayali, which is an online, news portal, several other news channels also in that particular dock where, the government, and it's not just the government, you've got celebrities also that have come out, saying that they're making defamatory claims, there is no truth behind these claims, you're defaming our reputation in society. So, of course, various courts have also weighed in on this. M.A. Yusuf, the founder of the Lulu Group, he moved the Honorable Court. The Delhi High Court has come out. It asked that particular online web portal to take down those defamatory, cases, those posts, the content on social media. One important aspect that, the court has also come out and said was that, in the garb of freedom of expression and, working as a watchdog for this democracy, do not cross and step over that line. But on the other hand, you've got these several cases where time and again you feel like, the polity and celebrity of Kerala are working in cahoots with the police, trying to muzzle the voice of the media. What's really happening at play? What are you picking up? What's the sentiment on ground in Kerala? What are some of the regional, websites telling us?
Well, Kabir, it is a very complicated situation that we are seeing in Kerala right now. As you rightly pointed out, the CPM has time again come out and spoken about Siddiq Kapan's right. Siddiq Kapan, the person who was here in UP, was incarcerated when he tried to go and,
the raids on the BBC office by the BJP at the center.
Raids at the BBC office and all these issues were in fact picked up. Now, within the state where they are the ruling party, there have been several cases that have been reported about what we can say is an alleged attempt to muscle the press. Now, is the Chief Minister muscling the press? Well, the Chief Minister has been very friendly with the press on one side itself. He has been having, continuous press briefings. He has taken tough questions, especially when the gold issue, the gold smuggling issue had also burst out. There were replies that was given, so he was direct with his reply to the journalists as well. Now, but however, there are some cases where this question is being asked. Recently, there was Maranathan Malayali, which is a very famous online portal. A lot of people do watch it for its content. And the editor, Shazan's Career, is the person who comes out and gives you these 5-minute, 6-minute kind of an explanation as to whether, these about certain aspects of what is happening in Kerala. And a lot of people do. It's a very, famous social media site. Now, Shazan's Career recently made a statement against the sports minister over alleged mismanagement of hostels, and for that he had said that these are the reasons that is happening. Now, the MLA has gone to the court, of course, has gone to the court and has said that there is a fake news attempt that has been put against him. of course, if there is something of fake news, it is the court that is supposed to decide. But some of the journalists within Kerala are also highlighting certain aspects of it. What they are highlighting is this, that they think that when they try to report certain things, they are being muscled with the power of the police and the ruling dispensation. Now, the ruling dispensation is saying that, boss, if it is a fake news, I think I have the right to challenge it. That's what I'm going through the police. I'm going through the courts to actually find out what is happening against me. And I need to, as a politician, it affects the perception of what is happening. The journalists say that they are on the side of the truth, while the politicians say that if it's a fake news, of course I will challenge it. I have within my rights to challenge it. So this is the debate that is going on. And recently, especially within the CPM, there has been a movement, especially by those leaders, to file cases against journalists which they think are going ahead with fake news. So that has become the bone of contention between certain media organizations as well as the Pinarayi-led LDF in Kerala as to who is actually on what side.
The students' wing as well. The party's youth wing, DYFI, conducted public conventions in all 14 district headquarters back in the day in protest against the criminal journalism of the channel. This after that particular case had come out where a reporter tried to replicate statements that were used, a year apart. And they did not put that tag of representational video.
They didn't put that
POCSO case.
There's a POCSO case that has been also put on. Now, they were trying to put out a story regarding a certain aspect of, drugs among kids and school going. So they were trying to, in fact, highlight that. But the question...
The drug menace in Kerala.
The drug menace in Kerala, that was the focus of that entire thing. And they had termed it as narcotics is a dirty business. It was a series that was going on. But the journalists who were involved in it got, the executive editor onwards, have got into this trouble of a POCSO case, because ideally they should have put that representative story or image, because it all talked about a script that was given to a minor to speak on this thing. And it happened to be an employee of that channel itself. But however, they were trying to highlight something in that case. But then there are issues. For example, an SFI leader has gone and filed a case against a reporter for what she did was she reported that he was being passed in an exam without attending that exam. And he has, being an SFI leader, has said that there is conspiracy when it comes to this. And these are some of the issues that have been raised on this as well. Now, there are some aspects of this as well. The Maranadan Malayali as a portal, there has been cases filed against it as well. We have actor Prithviraj also saying that he would file a case against him for some of the statements made. And then you have a very famous businessman also who had come out and tried to make a case with Delhi. He had approached the Delhi High Court to remove the defamatory content.
Founder of Lulu Group.
Lulu Group. He had tried to ask for defamatory content that come on Maranadan Malayali to be...
He'd also asked for rupees 10 crore in damages. Now, you know what? Let's first play out Raju Chandrasekhar's bite, who's the IT minister. Let's take a look at what he has to say, and then we'll come back and try to break down this case study, because I'll tell you what, this Maranadan Malayali and Srijan Skaria, this particular case has some sort of a different connotation, because so many cases against this particular news portal. The Kerala Working Journalists Union has said that, why don't you take a case against the editor, Srijan Skaria? Why are you troubling the other employees? Why are you troubling all the other journalists? Confiscate whatever you need to confiscate. There were raids across Kerala in various offices in Thiruvananthapuram, one in Kochi as well. Some of the relatives of the staff members were also, raided by the agencies. So, the Journalists Union is of the opinion that, don't trouble everybody else. But first, let's listen into what the central minister had to say.
Look, as much as we have been criticizing the Congress and various state governments in the Congress for misusing the law to silence media, I think it is important for the people of our country to look at what Pinarayi Vijayan is doing in Kerala. Pinarayi Vijayan's CPM government, which after it took over has been beset with scams after scams, ranging from gold smuggling to camera purchases for traffic, and having his own office and his own staff and family involved in these scams, has been cracking down on media repeatedly and has been using the threats of intimidation to silence media. It recently filed cases against some TV channels and the journalists in the TV channels, including women journalists. And this recent example of using the police raiding offices and homes of journalists to silence a YouTube channel when the matter is in court and when the person has appealed to the Supreme Court. This is a YouTube channel called Marunadan Malayali. The gentleman is Sergeant Skaria. And to use this type of blatant intimidation from a person, Chief Minister, and a government who, by the way, criticized our government for banning BBC's documentaries and talked about free speech. So in our country, if there is hypocrisy and double standards about freedom of speech, if there is a continuing politics of threat and intimidation, it is represented by the left and the Marxist government in Kerala. It is one of the reasons why all Marxist and left governments have been dispatched from all over the country, Tripura, West Bengal, everywhere they have been dispatched. But in Kerala, they continue to practice this politics of intolerance, politics of intimidation and threats against our media and journalistic community. And it is absolutely unconscionable, it is absolutely unacceptable in a democracy like ours.
Well, so that's the opinion of the IT minister. Now, he's talking about Marunadan Malayali. He's talking about blatant misuse of, power that the chief minister has and the CPI government, the left government in the state. What's your take on this? Is it blatant intimidation, or has Marunadan Malayali stepped a line? Because this particular case is, it has a little different connotation to it. Of course, you talk about media being the watchdog for democracy. You talk about, not muzzling the media down, freedom of speech, how important that is, a fundamental right. But what's your take on it? Where do you stand on this particular, in this tussle?
When it comes to Kerala, there is a huge Malayalam press that is very free, very bold, do ask the questions to the people in power. But now, of late, we have seen, especially people who have been questioned, also questioning the narrative that's coming from the press as well. So probably that is why, and there's been a mushrooming of these social media channels that are present on Facebook, on YouTube. Marunadan being an example of it. They have their own website as well.
Social media is a great power.
It is a great part. So a lot of small organizations have cropped up, and some of these small organizations, of course, is run by on the celebrity status of that editor, who is a mini celebrity when it comes to the way the stories are put out. Now, there are questions being asked whether, the 5 W's and H's followed, whether it is followed or not followed, and whether when someone makes a big allegation, whether he has the ability to fight it out with powerful institutions like a government or the people who are sitting in power. And it is no longer that people who are sitting in power is going to take it lying low as well. They are going to approach the courts, and you have seen the courts also making some harsh statements when it came to the media as well. But there are some questions that we also need to ask from the journalist side. Of course, I understand when you're trying to, in fact, put the minor issue in that. But then when a journalist questions about a trade union strike bringing difficulty, you have a case filed against him. You have a journalist speaking about the route in which a particular arson, person who is involved in arson is being taken from Maharashtra to Kerala. Right. And that route, because he leaked that route, you have him having a case against him.
Isn't the public bound to ask that? Aren't they right in asking those kind of questions?
So these questions are there. They're going to ask that questions, and these questions are going to be asked about it. But at the same time, over here in Kerala, what is happening is that you are asking as to whether there is ethical journalism or whether it is the government that is in fact bearing on those who are trying to push a certain narrative. So I think right now it is in between both, and the journalists are pushing back the government, and the government is trying to push back the journalists at the same time. So there are ethical issues on both the sides, and now a lot of people have approached the court. The fighting is in the courts. So let's in fact wait.
In this particular case, in PM Arsho's case, right? You've got the reporter who's facing action because he's put out this particular news that the
she has put out this news.
She, beg your pardon, has put out this news that this SFI leader passed the archaeology exam with scoring 0 marks. But at the same time, the
not leader, even appearing for the exam is
not even appearing for the exam, got 0 marks, was absent but has passed. Now coming out, PM Arsho has come out and said that I wasn't there was a technical glitch. The vice chancellor has come out and said that there was a technical glitch. The authorities of the college have also come out and
But
said
the
that
fact remains is that what is wrong in reporting it?
In reporting it, all right.
There has been this thing, but what Ashraf claims is that there is a conspiracy against him. Because he's the leader, he's representing political students. There's a conspiracy against him, and that you find this against this women journalist, this case coming up. So the question is, you can't shoot the messenger. If it is a glitch, that something has happened wrong. So the woman journalist is actually.
And there's a way to go about it. All right, you know what? Just to wrap all of this up, we put those case studies in front of the people, and of course, people are literate enough to come to their own opinions. Whether the Vijayan government is muscling the media, or is the media stepping that line, that thin line, that imaginary line, where in the garb of freedom of speech and expression, there is a proper defamation of reputation of various of these celebrities. M.A. Yusuf, he's the founder of Lulu Group, PMR Show, these are all legislators. The governments, lastly, just the government's, I beg your pardon, the court's observations, that yes, Marunathan Malayali has crossed that line. Media should be responsible. Today, the media's principles have become defame, denigrate, and
No, I'm saying if a journalist is having something solid in his hand, okay, and he's gone with the story and with an allegation, if he has solid evidence in his hand, of course it becomes material in the court as well, saying that this is the reason why I did that story. So I would say that all journalists would have to have something solid in their hand when they go, because they also have to stand the scrutiny of law. And they are going to bound to face a lot of cases because they have to stand the scrutiny of law, and they'll have to have something very solid in it. But that doesn't mean that you can have, when the person is trying to approach the court for interim bail or other things, or seeking legal recourse, the person is being hounded and his business is being also hounded at the same time. So, where does this fine line stand in Kerala is the big question that's being asked.
Well, where does the fine line stand? That is actually the big question. I don't think we've come to a conclusion to this particular answer, but it's important that we keep on talking about these things as well, because it's important to keep yourselves in check as well, whilst you're making sure that your job is to keep the other in check. So the media firms essentially suggesting that, the Kerala government is trying to muzzle the media, especially if IT Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar is his word is anything to go by. On the other hand,
Kerala government saying that we are trying to do our job. What is wrong is wrong, and what is fake news, we have to say it is fake news. But both of them are jostling this in the court. So press freedom technically in Kerala is in the courts now for each story. That is the worrying part.
And the court has made its own observations. The court knows that it's not as easy to let it slide. Of course, there is a thin line, and nobody should be crossing that. Many thanks, Varghese, for joining us here as we tried to decode whether the Kerala government and Pinarayi Vijayan is trying to muzzle the media or not. There's not an answer to this particular question. We've not come to a conclusion, but it's imperative that we talk about it. Various factors that have come to the fray as well. This is a developing story. Now the ball is in the court's court. We'll have to see what happens. This is Kabir Naqvi signing off. Stay tuned to News9 for all the latest updates.
Pakistan is actually genociding Baloch people. So being Baloch is a crime. If you are a Baloch, it means in the eyes of Pakistan, you don't have any right to live.
The Chinese and Pakistanis are colonizing the Baloch and exploiting their resources.
The Baloch armed struggle will continue unless China withdraws, Pakistan military withdraws from Balochistan, and give Baloch complete authority to decide for themselves.
The Baloch feel that if they don't act now, they will become marginalized.
What lies ahead for Balochistan?
Balochistan, Bangladesh 2.0. This and more. Streaming on India's first OTT video magazine, News9 Plus. Download now. ChatGPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
all of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.
A human has to be in the loop with an ability to control this.
Dark Side of the Boon. Streaming now.
With all this gear, you must be wondering if I'm climbing a mountain. Well, let me give you a wider look of this place. This is Asia's largest mountain of shame.
A mountain of waste, almost the height of the Qutub Minar.
When you enter capital cities of some of the biggest countries in the world, you don't have 3 garbage mountains waiting to welcome you, depending on whichever side of the city you enter from.
The thing is that a lot of times we talk about landfills only when there's a fire at the landfill. You need to understand that a landfill is at fire almost throughout the year. It's only when the firefighters are not able to douse the fire is when it actually catches the nation's attention, the city's attention, or media attention.
The towering landfills worsen one of Delhi's biggest problems.